it's Stephanie, and you're looking at my dirty shoes. These ones I only wore a couple times, but they look terrible. I just, sometimes we're in a very hurting place, and there are some slogans like the one that I was thinking of was, "It's okay to not be okay." I mean, what does that really mean? Especially if you're in severe pain, like mentally, or you're grieving because you just lost maybe a child or something, and you see this shirt, you know, the trauma is deep sometimes. And, some people are just very superficial, and they may mean well with it and everything. It's okay to not be okay, but really, what does that mean? Like, can you share my pain with me? Or, it should say, I understand I've been through hard times, and, but nobody is. How is somebody going to tell us it's okay to not be okay? Who makes them really the authority? It doesn't. All of us are going through life, and some people just have very deep wounds. And maybe I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I do have deep hurts, and I don't open them wounds back up because after you heal, you got to go through the healing process. But when I was going through that healing, some people have no living idea. Some people were compassionate and everything, and then sometimes people tried to victimize you. I never try to do that. And Jesus, we when somebody says like it's okay to not be okay, I mean, why though? It's There's nothing wrong with grieving. We have to grieve. When you go through trauma of any kind, no matter what it is, I mean, maybe you had lost a loved one or something, we all have like trauma, you know, but we have to process this trauma. But on a platform, if it's really deep hurts, you really need someone to process it with you. But, sometimes we're just not ready for that pain because in order to really heal, you will have to go through that pain. Hey, Gator, good evening. Sometimes the pain is just so deep because it's things that people really don't understand what you're going through. And, you know, it just seems so superficial. It's like a catchphrase, and it's almost like I don't know, it's like sarcastic. It's okay to not be okay. Like, who are you saying that to? A woman who just, lost her child or something? What does that mean? Or someone who's the spouse just walked out on? It's just so superficial. So sometimes it's better, like these shirts, they make money off of people's pain too. I mean, it's not a good phrase at all. It should say, do you need someone to talk to? Can I talk? If you really want to know somebody, you're going to have to sit there and really talk with them. And you have to take your deepest hurt. When somebody's going through something very deep, you have to go to your deepest hurt and kind of try to understand what they're going through. It's empathy. And but somebody like that's why we have professional people to really help people heal, because there's just some wounds that it's going to take a long time. If somebody went through something. Hey, Zachary, how are you? Tay, I never seen you before, so not today. Gator is a moderator because I've known him a long time. If you understand what I'm saying, like, I'm sure everybody on here has deep hurts, okay? And there was just things that people had. It's so painful sometimes, the things that we go through in life. And that's why, like, on a platform like this, when you're going through something like that, people don't really understand sometimes. We understand, but if you have healed from that, sometimes it's better just to let it go and to share that with somebody. You will have those feelings. But until, I'm telling you, because I share some stuff on here and I have some of those feelings. And tank. Sometimes the pain, I just don't want to go back there. Like, I'm healed from it, but I don't want to go back to those pains, you know. Oh, thank you, Kamaya. Good evening. So, I think it's like, it's so sarcastic for someone to say, like, it's okay to not be okay. I mean, do you understand what real pain is? Do you really understand? And sometimes people use words, and I'm not mocking anybody, but really try to talk with somebody. If they're really going through something, just listen. And what you say to someone makes a huge difference. If you don't know what to say, you can always say, I don't really know what to say, but I'm going to pray for you. And, if you really need to talk, I'm here. But sometimes it's really better just to, if you really don't know what the people are feeling or whatever, or they're really in pain, just let them know that you're there, you know. Jose Gomez Jr. Um, I don't think so. What does that mean? You've been ignored by people because I'm a good person. People don't really know if we're good, and unless you do actions and stuff, actions speak volumes. And I'm not saying you have to go out and buy everything, but actions really speak louder than words. And yes, sometimes you won't get the praise that you're expecting, but God sees you. you know Being good is a reward in itself, because at the end of the day, God is saying, good job, you know. But so I just was thinking of that. And if you're going through trauma, some things are just better if you have healed from that. It's better just to leave that, because you do have to go, even though you healed from it. You could help somebody that's going through that same thing. That's why a lot of times people that are therapists and stuff, they have been through extreme painful things, because to really understand where somebody's coming from, you need some kind of scars sometimes. But it doesn't mean that you can't empathize with somebody. But don't just say, it's okay to not be okay. It's really not okay. It's okay that it's all good that we have feelings, but for someone to stay in a bad state their whole entire life is not really healthy. And the healing needs to take place, but a lot of people won't. You have to revisit the scar, whatever it is, and you need to ask God to just touch that place. And you really need to just process it. That's the only way to get healing. It's like you have to take off the scab, because a lot of us just push it down. But a therapist or God, when He comes in, He will start to work on that. And it's not really easy. But just understand Jesus went through everything, but it still does not make it easy, okay? So, that's what I have with the phrase, it's okay to not be okay. I mean, it doesn't really help me. If I'm really going through something painful and somebody says that to me, I'm going to tell them to get out of my face, because you have no idea what I'm going through, you know? And it doesn't help. That's why you have to, when you share your heart with somebody, make sure that person is really going to listen. And if somebody does open up to you, listen, and with an open heart, not from a judge point standpoint, but just be compassionate for people, because there is really hurting people. Jose says, I'm eating spaghetti. I love Italian food. Amen. I'm a believer in Jesus. Amen. Jesus definitely did. He's the Son of God, the only begotten Son of God. But um, when we go through this trauma, you need healing. So whether you lost somebody or whether you have gone through a really painful time, there does need to be a process to grieve and to actually process the pain of what happened, to kind of think about what really happened. And just take that time to heal. Healing takes time. And we're all at different levels. I mean, when I lost my mom, it took me 20 years to really, like, I'm still not, and it never gets easier. But just know that God sees you, okay? And I'm not going to say it's okay to not be okay. Obviously we have to process this stuff. We all have feelings, and who am I to say it's okay to not be okay? I'm not any of us. We don't rule the world or anything, you know. But I would say, you know, wherever you find yourself, that process those emotions and let God heal your heart. It just takes time and it's so painful sometimes, you know. So if you don't really know what, you understand what I'm saying. Like when somebody says it's okay to not be okay, it sounds like just very obnoxious, to be honest. Like you can come from a place to say, you know, I've had, maybe I didn't go through that, but I have gone through painful things, and you know, just listen to people and understand that not everything that you have gone through is for everybody's ears, and you don't have to really share that. If you healed from that, you don't have to tell everybody about it. You can, you know, but one day God will use that, and when somebody is going through that similar thing, you can help somebody. You know, you can be compassionate to understand where somebody's coming from. You know, so even though something may be extremely painful, you'll understand where someone's coming from. We have these hurts and these scars and these trauma and stuff, and only somebody that really has walked through that thing can really understand that pain. You know, there's just some things I don't understand what people are going through, but then there's some things that I understand what people are going through, and even though it doesn't make it easier, I mean, I can empathize with them, and but just be a good friend, you know, love one another, and yeah. But that's what I have with the phrase "it's okay to not be okay," because none of us are. Who are we to say it's okay to not be okay? It's okay for people to have their feelings, and it doesn't matter if you agree with their feelings. Everybody's entitled to have their feelings, and whether they're strong emotions or not, everybody is not a robot, you know, and you can't tell somebody how to feel. People feel the way they do, and you can't control that. It's they feel the way they do, and you have every right to that, to your feelings, just as I do too. And maybe some people wouldn't get offended by the things that I get offended by, but I do. And maybe some people, but it's our life experiences. This what makes us us, you know. So just because you maybe tolerate a lot more, there may be things that I just don't, you know, won't walk with somebody because of that. You know, it's we're all at different stages in our life, and experiences in our life have definitely shaped us, you know. So that's all I got to say about that. So that phrase is just ridiculous. It's okay to not be okay. It doesn't, to me, it's not really considerate of people. It's just abrasive, and it's just, it's, I don't know what you want to call, it's sarcastic, basically. It's not really kind at all. It's not kind at all. And the phrase really needs to go away. All right. Well, that's all I got to say about that, okay? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.